The gay dating timeline. Match, drink, trauma dump, move in, open up, roommates.
Days of fables, it's the tea, it's the show. Lessons in love with a fabulous glow.
Hello and welcome back to Gay Soap Fables. We talk about gay psychology, the gay community, and today, more helpfully than last week, tips on how to manage the intensity trap in dating. Last week we talked about the intensity trap, mistaking chemistry for connection, mistaking attachment for connection, and the role of minority stress and the threat of being rejected and the reality of being rejected and how that can skew your interpretation of dating and your expectations of early dating. Team, this week we are diving head first into tips. This may even be a short video. Can't promise that though. I have thought so long and hard about why I am such a dating disaster. I am full of unendorsed psychological tips. These are my own tried and tested methods and opinions. Like I say to a date after a meal on Brick Lane, enter at your own risk. So sometimes you might feel a bit anxious and in need of reassurance in early dating. You are likely to cling a bit hard, want to see them all the time, come across as a bit needy. This is rooted in anxiety, a need to close the space between you and your potential forever person. It's understandable, but it can lead to you rushing things and pushing things a bit quicker than they need to go emotionally. You force intimacy and you skip the connection. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to create your own space. If you want to see the person the next day after a date to keep the connection going, add a week. Or a few days if the week feels intolerable. He will feel happier, as he will see you as someone who has a busy, rich life. And allow yourself time to live that life. Don't sleepwalk through that week. Go see friends, do hobbies you love, learn a new skill, evolve your life as if this person doesn't exist, or at least is just a part of it, not your everything. And what about when you struggle to connect? You view dating as a burden, an obligation. You struggle to connect because you don't want to feel responsible for someone else, as this has brought you pain in the past. So when you're with someone who wants to see you often, your instinct will be to create space, which will make you happy. But if they're anxious, you will activate their anxiety, meaning they will cling harder and become more off-putting. But that's not them. That's their anxiety speaking. That's their anxiety walking around in a flesh suit. So to give them a chance to show you the non-anxious parts of themselves, might I suggest creating some space, but committing to the next date. You'll have the space you need in between dates to recover and replenish. They will have some certainty that you're interested. Win-win. On to the next set of tips. If you do tend to rush things, you may lack awareness that you are doing it. It likely feels very natural, very familiar, and it's probably a pattern you've repeated your entire life. You've probably called it chemistry at some point. I really liked him, but there just wasn't a spark. I just didn't feel the chemistry. If you tend to avoid, you will feel rushed by a healthy paced relationship. You'll feel overwhelmed by an anxious person rushing things. But let's say that there is some neutral, objective truth about the stages of a relationship. Even when someone is moving at a predetermined, scientifically desirable, healthy pace, you might feel overwhelmed. Well, how can you tell? Well, top tip. Compliments and these sorts of positive things that people say in early dating are an excellent barometer for how a person negotiates dating, whether they're falling into the intensity trap, and whether you yourself are. Saying I love you too early is a very obvious indication that you are rushing. But after 10 dates, if the best compliment you can muster is, Wow, you have very symmetrical earlobes. You might also have a problem. Attachment is on whatever timeline your anxiety can tolerate. Connection takes the time it takes. So I have developed a little barometer of compliments to help anchor you in these turbulent seas. You have a great smile. Date 1. You're hot. Date 1. You're so funny. Date 1. You're wrong. You might think this is okay on the first date, but you are wrong. Because if they think this early, it's because they think you're hot. Funny is for date 3, probably 4. You're really interesting. 6+. Otherwise it's just surface. I'm interested in what I've seen so far. Great, date 3. You have great stories. Also fine for date 3. Better for 4 to 6. We seem to want similar things. Okay for 4 to 6, but better after 6+. It's a grey area. You're a really good listener. 4 to 6. I love how passionate you are. 4 to 6. You make me feel safe. Part of me wants to say never under any circumstances, but I've been told it's part of healthy love. 6+. You make me want to be a better version of myself. 6+. So notice the compliments you give and receive. Personally, when someone tells me early on how amazing I am, it pisses me off. I do think I can be amazing, but they don't know that yet. They're projecting some fantasy onto me. I was once making out with someone on a table at Oktoberfest, and he'd made a beeline for me a couple of nights before at some other event. And he told me how amazing I am and how I should move to LA with him. And I was getting uncomfortable, and he said, "Oh, you have a lot of problems accepting compliments." And I said, "No, you don't know me well enough to think that I'm amazing. You know me well enough to think that I'm hot. By day 3 of Oktoberfest, possibly funny." I said to him in my Stein-infused state, "I feel like a projector screen." I said, "I'm not the movie." I said, "You're projecting this movie you already wrote, starred in, and directed onto me. I could be anyone." And he said, "Well, what should we do?" And I said, "Well, I'm just going to wait till I'm the movie." When someone tells me how amazing I am early on and I don't buy it, my subconscious kicks in and I have this really strong desire to show them how unamazing I am. So it is up to you, dear friends, to manage attachment, strive for connection, and set your own boundaries to help you move from attachment to connection. Next week, we're going to talk about therapy, growth, reflection, and awareness, and how sometimes you can feel like you're too aware. Like sometimes you can't have just a reckless experience because you're too aware of the consequences and the causes of your reckless behavior. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you had fun with this episode. I'm kind of enjoying these short, snappy tips, not remotely rooted or grounded in science. You are welcome. Join me next week and have a moral week, you beautiful gay legends.
Days of fables, it's the tea, it's the show. Lessons in love with a fabulous glow.